unit 12. So we are having 3 units. So each block containing 3 units, we are having 4 blocks. So 4 into 3, that is 12 units are there in our syllabus. So I am giving the screen, the syllabus is giving screen on screen. See the screen. If you are having books, I'll open the books, or if you're not having the books, you can see the screen. So first of all, block 1, data. So data is nothing but it is the numerical values or raw material or figures is known as data. This data collecting generally 2 methods. One is the primary data and one is the secondary data. So in that methods of collection and editing of primary data, what are the objectives? What are the introduction, data, definition, examples, primary data, definition, examples, methods of collection and editing of primary data, summary, check your progress, model answers, model examination questions. So, first of all, statistical survey. A statistical survey is nothing but a systematic search for truth. It speaks some arithmetic answers to a problem which is quantifiable and therefore unavailable to statistical treatment. The statistical inquiry has to pass through the following 4 stages. The first one is observation. So you can observe the values. The second one is laying down of hypothesis. So hypothesis is the next step, is to lay down hypothesis on the basis of available information possible by the using deductive logic. For example, if the businessman finds that the sales of one of its products have been declining and it undertake to investigation the courses. The primary investigation might yield the following tentative results. Okay. So first of all, you can take the data by using hypothesis. So prediction nothing but it is estimating or calculating or finding is known or measuring. So this is nothing but prediction. So prediction nothing but calculating or finding or determining or estimating. You can use any word in the place of prediction. It refers to anticipations about future deduced from the facts of primary investigation or based on the opinion of experts. The verification of the truth would reveal how a particular prediction was correct. So after that, you can go to verification. So this is the verification. Next one is planning of statistical survey. So first of all, what is the purpose of using survey? Second one is scope of survey. What is the scope of survey? Third one is definition of terms, various terms. That is, there may be various statements of purpose and scope of work, which would have many things. To give a clean idea about the statement, we avoid any mistakes due to use of terminology. The various terms should be preferably defined. So after that, preparation of dummy reports. So these are the 4 points are discussed about the survey. After that, collection of data. So this first unit, first block is entirely theory part. Okay, is entirely theory part. After that, we can go to block 2, that is the problematic part. Okay, so please understand each and every point. So now coming to primary data. So primary data means the agencies or persons to collect the information the first time. Suppose, for example, the KCR government formed on 2nd June 2014. The 19th August 2014, the Samagra Kutumba survey is planned, surveyed of collecting the whole information of Telangana people according to their economy or their living status or their agriculture status or their social status. Everything should be conducted survey. That is the name of Samagra Kutumba survey. that is 19th August 2014. So that should be known as primary data. This data you can use another agency or another person, this data you can use, that should be known as secondary data. Okay. Now coming to methods of collecting primary data. So primary data means direct to personal interviews, indirect to oral interviews, information from correspondents, mailed questionnaire methods. So first of all, we can discuss about direct to personal interviews. We can go to house and face to face take the interview. Investigator will contact the respondents from the whom the information is to be obtained. Ever దగ్గర నుంచి information కావాలనో వాళ్ళ దగ్గర నుంచి మనం information తీసుకోదాన్ని మనం ఏమంటాం direct to personal interviews అంటాం. In that, personal interview can be classified into 6 categories. There are door-to-door interview, number 1, and mail, and second one is mall intercept interview. The investigator sanctioned at the entrance of the shopping mall invite the respondents to participate in the structured interview process. The second one is mall intercept interview. Third one is office interview. The method of appropriate when the researcher's objectives is to be unfold the consumer attitude on any industrial product, services or opinion on government's news policies from various categories of employees. So that should be known as office interview. Fourth one is self-administered questionnaire. No interview is involved. A series of questions are presented to the respondents with the interaction of the investigator. The method eliminates investigators' bias in any from, but a personal clarification to some of the questions of the survey by the investigator is missing. So this should be known as self-administered questionnaire. First of all, we can prepare the questions according to survey. Okay. Now, fifth one is computer-assisted personal interviews. So sixth one is observation. Under this method, investigator collect the information by mere observing the correspondent and he records the data. This is the most useful method in some marketing studies where consumer behavior is studied. So there are many merits and demerits of these methods which are discussed as under. So what are the merits? So in that we are having 4 merits are there. Respondents feel free to give the required information when contacted personally. So when the researcher went to house, person to person, and the respondents feel free to give the required information when contacted personally. Second one is most of the times the data collected through this method is more accurate because of the face-to-face interaction. The third one is this method also provides the scope for getting supplementary information from the respondent, because while interviewing it is possible to ask some supplementary questions which may be greater use later. The fourth one is the interview can change his language according to the educational status and the level of the understanding of the respondents to avoid inconvenience and confusions of the respondents. So these are the 4. These are the 4 merits of primary data. Now, next one is demerits. This method is expensive if the number of respondents spread widely in large geographical area. Okay. Now, second one is there is greatest chance of personal bias and prejudice under this method as compared to other methods. Now, coming to third demerit of the primary data. Third one is the interviews have to be thoroughly trained and experienced. Otherwise, they may not be able to obtain the desired information. So generally, the interviewers or researchers are having the experience and skills by taking the information from the respondents. Fourth one is this method is more time taking as compared to other methods. This is the taking the very more time as compared to other methods. This is because interviews can be held only at the convenience of the information. Now coming to conclusion, though there are some demerits, still we cannot say that it is not useful. It can be used when the area of study is limited. Nowadays, cause of the advancement in the communication system, investigator can collect the data through phone, email, or by mailing questionnaires. The second one is inductive interviews. The first one is second one is inductive interviews. According to this method, the investigator meets the third parties, generally called witness, who are capable of supplying necessary information. So this is a witness who are capable of supplying necessary information by third parties. Generally, this method can be employed when the data is to be collected is simplex, to be collected is complex in nature, and the correspondent may not have willing to give information directly. Okay. So coming to these, it should be having a merits and demerits also there. In this indirect interviews, we are having 4 merits are there. A wide area can be covered. It is economical in terms of time, cost, and manpower. Number 3, confidential information can be collected. Number 4, this method is relatively simple to understand. So the demerits also there. The degree of accuracy of information sometimes is less. It may not be reliable. So this is the degree of accuracy of information sometimes is very less comparing to door-to-door personal interviews. Now, number 3 one is information from correspondents. According to this method, investigator finds local agents or correspondents in different places to collect information. Okay. So in this, we are having also 3 merits are there. 3 merits and 1 demerit is there. It is economical method, and the investigation is extensive. This method is widely used to supply information on a continuous bias. In case of skilled and experienced local agents, the data obtained are of good quality. Now, the demerit is the data obtained by this method may not be reliable because of personal prejudices. Due to the personal prejudices, the data obtained by this method may not be reliable. Now, 4th one is mailed questionnaire method. So questions is the set of questions for collecting the desired information from the respondents. A questionnaire can be administered personally or mailed to the respondents. Okay, you can post the mail and take the information about respondents, about the survey from the respondents. So in this, we are having 4 merits are there. Data can be easily collected by using this method. Cost of data collection by using this method is very less. And this method takes less time for data collection. By using this method, it is easy to collect personal information of the respondents. So in this, we are having also 4 demerits also there. One is this method cannot be used on illiterates. Who is having the illiterates? We cannot mail the questionnaire to their addresses. Why? Because they are not illiterates. They are illiterates, so that this is the one of the demerit. Most of the times, the collected data by this method may not be precise. We may not get complete information from the respondents. Very difficult to verify the accuracy of the data. Now, 5th one is methods of editing the primary data. Data editing is a process which reviews and judges of the collected data. So after completion of collecting the data, we can use editing. If any there are mistakes are there or any wrong information is there, you can editing the primary data by interactive editing, selective editing, micro editing, automatic editing. Okay. So interactive editing, nothing but recollecting the data from the respondents. The term interactive editing is commonly used for modern computer assisted manual editing. Most interactive data editing tools applied at National Statistical Institute, NSI, allows one to check the specified edits during or after the data entry. Okay. Now, second one is selecting the data, selective data. In selective editing, we identify the inferential errors and others and outliers. In selective editing, the data will be splitting into two parts or streams. The critical system, the critical stream, one is the critical stream, and second one, the non-critical stream. That is the selective editing. Third one is micro editing. There are two methods of micro editing. One is aggregation method and one is distribution method. One is aggregative method and one is distribution method. This method is followed in almost every statistical agency before publication. Distribution method, nothing but data available is used to characterize the distribution of the variables. So variable, nothing but it is not constant, is known as variable. The varies from place to place or from person to person is known as variable. This variable is known as measurable characteristic. Like some X person having 45 kgs, that is a measurable. So X person having 5 feet 2 inches, that should be measurable. The X person having some beauty is nothing but is the non-measurable characteristic. So variables, nothing but measurable characteristics and non-measurable characteristics. Two categories are there. Measurable characteristics is known as like weight, height, sex, marital status, like so on and so forth. Whereas non-measurable characteristic, nothing but it should be attributes. That nothing but a particular characteristic is known as attribute. So every person having one attribute, whether it is good or bad. Okay, smoking, drinking, laughing, weeping, honesty, dishonesty, like these are the all known as non-measurable characteristics. Then in statistics, the variables are involved. In entire statistics, the variables are involved. Without variable, there is no statistic. Without heart functioning, the man cannot live. Similarly, without variables, there is no statistics. So that should be no distribution method. Number 4, automatic editing. In automatic editing, records are edited by the computer without human intervention. Okay. So this should be automatic editing. So check your progress. So in this topic, define primary data and explain what are the methods to collect primary data. That is the most important question from this topic. The first question is define primary data and what are the methods to collect primary data. Without this question, there is no question paper. This question is very, very most important question. Please, students, note this point. Write the question, define primary data and explain the various methods to collecting the primary data. So that is the most important question. You should have short notes or you should have long questions are there. In this short notes, define primary data or simply primary data. Long questions, define primary data and explain what are the methods to collect primary data. Here students, note this question, very, very most important in first block. Now coming to unit 2, methods of collection and editing of secondary data. So what are the objectives? What are the interaction? What are the secondary data definition and examples? Sources of secondary data, precautions in the use of secondary data, editing of secondary data, summary, check your progress, model answers, model question, examination questions. Okay. So First of all, we have collected the primary data. That example I given just now before. That is KCR, Telangana TRS government formed on 2nd June 2014 to understanding the second Telangana people economy and living status and everything, financial status and everything, to prepare a Samagra Kutumba survey on 19th August 2014 from morning 7 a.m. to evening 7 p.m. So that information is whole nothing but primary data. So this primary data you can use to various various benefits of the running of the government by using this data. Okay, that's the free pathakalu antam kada. Idi Raitu Bandha Pathakamu tarvata అటువంటి వాటి కోసం దాన్ని యూజ్ చేస్తారు. ఓకే, సో ఆ ప్రైమరీ డాటాను మళ్ళీ ఒక ఏజెన్సీ కానీ ఒక అదర్ పర్సన్స్ కానీ యూజ్ చేస్తే దాన్ని ఏమంటాం, సెకండరీ డాటా అంటాం. ఓకే, బట్ సెకండరీ డాటాలో యూ నీడ్ నాట్ కలెక్ట్ ద ప్రైమరీ డాటా అగైన్. సో యూ కెన్ టేక్ ద ప్రైమరీ డాటా అండ్ యూజ్ యువర్ ప్లానింగ్ అకార్డింగ్ టు యువర్ అబ్జెక్టివ్స్. యూ కెన్ యూజ్ ద primary data through secondary data. Secondary data are the data that have already been collected by someone else before the current needs of the researchers. Secondary data sources can be broadly classified into two categories. There are published sources and unpublished sources. So this is the most important word. Secondary data sources. Source of secondary data sources can be broadly classified into two categories. They are published sources and they are unpublished sources. The governmental, international and local agencies publish statistical data. Some of them are explained below. So one is international publications. There are some international institutions and bodies like IMF, IBRD, ICAFE and UNO who publish regular and occasional reports. These reports provide a lot of data to the researcher. The accuracy and the quality of the data are unquestionable. So this should be no international publication. Number second, official publications of central and state governments. Several departments of the central and state governments regularly publish reports on a number of subjects. Some of the important publications are the Reserve Bank of India Bulletin, Census of India, Statistical Abstracts of States, Agriculture Statistics of India, Indian Trade Journal, CSO, NSSO, Central Statistical Organization, National Statistics Sample Survey Organization, National Sample Survey Organization provides a lot of database to any researcher. Number third one is semi-official publications. Semi-government institutions like municipal corporations, RTC corporations, road transport corporations, district boards, panchayatis, etc. publish reports relating to socio-economic data. Number 4, publication of research institution. Indian Statistical Institute, ISI, Central Statistical Organization, CSO, National Sample Survey Organization, NSSO, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICAR, Indian Agriculture Statistics Research Institute, IA, SRI, etc. publish data regarding various phenomenon and present the findings of their research products. So these are the 4. These are the 6. Number 5, reports of various committees and commissioners appointed by the government. Number 6, journals and newspapers. Journals and newspapers are also very important, powerful sources of secondary data. Number 2, unpublished sources. Unpublished data can be obtained from the many published sources like these records maintained by various governments and private officials. From the university, libraries, we can gather data from these for the numerous research process by the researchers. Okay. So precautions in the use of secondary data. So precautions in the use of secondary data, the sustainability of the data, accuracy of data, reliability of data. These are the 3 These are the three precautions in the use of secondary data. The susceptibility, the suitability of data. The investigator must satisfy himself that the data available are suitable to achieve formulated research objectives. That adequacy of data. If the data are suitable for purpose of investigation, then we must judge whether the data can provide adequate information to the present study. That's second one. Third one is reliability of data. The reliability of data depends upon the various methods and various measurements adopted by the organization for the data collection. Now, next one is editing of secondary data. Wait for 1 minute. Right. So, editing of secondary data, editing for completeness, editing for consistency, editing for accuracy, editing for homogeneity, chance between primary and secondary data. So, this is the secondary data. Going to summary, check your model question. Here you can see, write a note on published sources of secondary data. Write a note on unpublished sources of secondary data. Give an explanation of editing of secondary data. So in this unit, write the question, define secondary data. Define secondary data. Define secondary data. And explain what are the methods to collect the secondary data. And explain what are the methods to collecting secondary data. This is a long question. In short question, define secondary data simply. Now coming to unit 3. So in first unit, one question is there. Define primary data and explain what are the methods to collect primary data. The second unit, define secondary data and explain what are the methods to collect secondary data. Now coming to third unit, classification and tabulation of the data. In a classification and tabulation of data, we are having classification of data. So we are after the collection of data, you can divide classification the data into 4 categories. One is known as quantitative classification. Write down the points. One is known as classification of data. One is known as quantitative classification. Second one is temporal or chronological classification. Temporal or chronological classification. Third one is spatial or geographical classification. Fourth one, qualitative classification. Fourth one, qualitative classification. Out of these four, the first one is quantitative classification. According to quantity, the base of quantity, according to the base of quantity is known as quantitative classification. Second one is temporal or chronological classification. The basis of according to time is known as temporal or chronological classification. Third one is spatial or geographical classification. That is the basis of according to place. The basis of according to place is known as geographical classification or spatial classification. Fourth one is qualitative. The basis of according to quality is known as qualitative classification. Okay. So here, given here, the following types of classification techniques we use for the data classification. There are, first one is quantitative classification. Here number given, 3 is given. So whatever the serial number, you need not worry about the serial numbers. First one is quantitative classification. Second one is temporal or chronological classification. Third one is spatial or geographical classification. Fourth one is qualitative classification. So coming to, according to my knowledge, 1, 2, 3, 4 serial number. So first one is quantitative classification. Here you can see on the screen, quantitative classification. The classification of data is based on some characteristics which can be measured, such as height, weight, distance, income, etc. can be classified, can be quantified. The classification based on such a phenomenon is called quantitative classification. The following table 3.5 shows a frequency distribution. Number of children 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number of families. There is no children, families 15. There is only one child, that is 34. There is only 2 children, whether it is male or female, need not worry about sex. The number of families 76. The number of children having 3 members. How many families are there? 23. So this like is shown as this is the information about quantitative classification. Okay. Now coming to temporal, based upon time. This is, if the classification basis is time, then such a classification is called temporal classification. For example, profits of a company over the years, population of a country over the years, revenue generating by the organization over the months, etc. Is nothing but. So here you can see year 2002, production is 25.8 crores. In 2003, 43.28 crore, 2 crores. 2004, 54.2 crores. Like, so this is the temporal classification. Now coming to number 3, spatial classification. In the base of classification is geographical regions. Then such classification is called spatial classification. For example, population density in different cities, sales of a company in different regions of the city, rainfall statistics of different regions, etc. Like, number fourth one is that is fourth one is qualitative classification. Qualitative classification. The classification data, this is the quantity, qualitative.
Sir, it's there in 24, page number 3.3.3.
24. Yeah. 24, page number. Qualitative, yes, correct. 24, page number. Right, this one. Quantitative. Where is qualitative? That one is spatial, temporal. This is qualitative. Where is quantitative? I will see the quantitative. I think it is missed in the textbook. See the textbook.
Sir, both are there in 24 page number only. 3.3.3 is qualitative data. 3.3.4 quantitative classification.
3.3.4 frequency distribution for quantitative data. Directly is given by data. So coming to frequency distribution. So after completion of quantitative classification, he is taken frequency distribution. The power is gone. Are you listening?
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How many just information? Rajeshwari. Yes or no? Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Right. Sushma. Sumana, I think so. Sumana.
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Yes. Sania Begum. Is a present or absent? Okay. Rajeshwari, you are coming from? Yes, please.
Neredmet, sir.
Neredmet, Hyderabad.
Yeah, sir. But actual name was Ishwari.
Ishwari name is?
Yeah, sir.
Here is visible is Rajeshwari.
Sir, in certificate, my name is Ishwari.
Okay, no problem. But here is manaku kanipistundi kada Rajeshwari kanipistundi. Are you understand Telugu?
Ha, sir.
Okay, no problem. Sumana, you are coming from?
Sir, I am from Hyderabad, Dilshuk Nagar.
Hyderabad, Dilshuk Nagar. Okay. So only 2 members are there. Sania Begum is present or absent? Here is okay. Only 3 members are. So I think so. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is the only for first class. In first class, first block is complete the theory part. You can understood. Need not worry about the notes. Need not about the notes.
Okay,
First one is primary data. Already I given the question. Without the question, there is no question paper. So my biodata is I am a MSc Statistics from Osmania University. My experience is 32 years service in the University of Satavahana. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So if you are having any doubts, entire semester, so my number is visible or?
No, sir.
No. Okay, you can contact me on that number. You should have any doubts, I will discuss with you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. So frequency distribution. Every day, every Saturday, that is only second Saturday, 10:30 to 11:30. Remaining every Sunday, 10:30 to 11:30. So my time is 10:30 to 11:30. My session is there for English medium. Okay. Today only second Saturday.
Okay, sir.
From tomorrow, Sunday, by 10:30, 11:30. Next Sunday, 10:30, 11:30. Only Sundays.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sessions are there. Today, first class. So many students are there. Out of 27, participants are 27 is there. Okay. Okay, coming to frequency distribution, screen kampistunda?
Yes, sir.
Right. So coming to frequency distribution, that is here one example is there. Rating poor, frequency 2, below average 4, average 3, above average 9, excellent, given 2 members. So that should be known as frequency. In relative frequency distribution is given to percentage. Poor is given 2 members. So that is relative frequency 0.10. Below average given 4 members, that is 0.20, like so on and so forth. Okay. So frequency distribution for quantitative data. For a quantitative data having few values which are repeating continuously within the data set can be expressed with a discrete frequency distribution. In this case, to summarize such data, we can arrange values in a ascending order and count their frequencies by using tally bars. Okay. So this is having tally bars. Here you can see 0. So how many zeros are there? 1, like given this one line number. Next to 1 0, next to 1 0, next to 1 0. After 4 completes, you can give the cross mark. So this complete set is only indicating 5 members. Next to 5 members, next to 5 members, next to 5 members, total is 20. It should be easy to countable, this model. Suppose if you are writing serially 1 1 1 1 1 like so and so tally bars, you cannot count it properly. So this set of 5 members. So after 4, give cross nile. That is 5. 1 set to 1, 2 set to 3 set to 4 into 5 equal 20. So this should be very easily to calculate frequency distribution. And another one is inclusive class intervals. What is the meaning of exclusive class intervals and inclusive class intervals? Class intervals. To construct a frequency distribution to entire range of the data can be divided into various sub-ranges. Each sub-range is known as a class. Each class can be represented by 2 values. They are lower limit and upper limit. Lower limit represents the smallest possible value of the class and upper limit represents the largest possible value of the class. Like, so here you can see 10 to 20, 8 members. 10 నుంచి 20 వచ్చిన వాళ్ళు 8 members ఉన్నారు మనకు. అట్నే 20 నుంచి 30. మరి ఇక్కడ 20 ఏంటంటే ఈ 20 nothing but this is 10 to 19.999. They're coming to 20 to 29.999, like so on and so forth. That is the understanding point. But generally we can return 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Until that means you can take lower limit, but you should not take upper limit. You should take lower limit, but you should not take upper limit. So that should be known as inclusive interval. Sorry, exclusive intervals. Now second one is inclusive class intervals. Inclusive means 0 to 9. You can take 0 and you can take 9. That is 0 to 9, 8 members. 10 to 19, 12 members. This should be known as inclusive class intervals. In statistics, every class interval should be exclusively undala. In statistics, every class interval should be exclusive class intervals. In a frequency distribution, if the upper limit of the class included from that class, then the class intervals are known as exclusive class intervals. For example, in the following frequency distribution, in the first class, interval 0 to 10, that means extended from the first class, it is included. In the second class, similarly from the second class, 20 included and the included in the third class, like so on and so forth. Open-end frequency distribution. So this is the less than 10, means what? Open. 10 to 20, 12 members, 20 to 30, 13 members, 30 to 40, 6 members, and 40 and above 40, that is the open. Here you can see 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and more than 40. So in more than 40 or less than 20, less than 0, less than 10. ఇటువంటి వాటిని ఏమంటాం మనం ఓపెన్ అండ్ ఎండ్ క్లాసెస్. ఓపెన్ అండ్ ఎండ్ క్లాస్ ఫ్రీక్వెన్సీస్. A frequency distribution with unequal class intervals. So 0 to 10, 8, 10 to 20, 12. This should be known as equal class intervals. But whereas unequal class intervals, 0 to 9, 10 to 20, that should be unequal class intervals. So relative frequency distribution. So class relative frequency is equal to class frequency by total number of values. So that's relative class intervals. So these are the construction of frequency distribution. Find the range of the data by using the following formula. Range is equal to maximum value minus minimum value of the data given set. Fix a number of class intervals. Should be fixed number of class intervals. As is rule of thumb, the number of class intervals should be not less than 5 and more than 15. So range by number of class intervals. Width of the class intervals is equal to range by number of class intervals. By using this formula, we can prepare questions. You can prepare frequency distribution. Like, so tabulation of data. Next one is tabulation of data. So like this one. So here 95, 96, 97 country, Nepal, Bangladesh, China, like Singapore, imports, exports, imports, exports, imports, exports, like so on and so forth. Summary model questions. Coming to tomorrow, we will enter into the measures of central tendencies and dispersion. Tomorrow we can discuss block 2. Okay. So this is the block 1. Today's session is complete block 1, having 3 units. This is very simple and easy to understand for every student. Almost all complete the theory part. From tomorrow onwards, we can go to problematic part, like measures of central tendency and dispersion. Okay. Bye. So best of luck. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.